This season, we received quite a bit of mail on what has happened to our two young reporters, Stephanie Mercier and Carmen Thomas. 2 weeks ago, we caught up with Carmen. Now let's catch up with Stephanie to find out what has happened since she left and moved on to her new career.
I was working at the racetrack as a wagering instructor. I'd been doing it for a couple of years. And if I remember correctly, you guys were doing a short piece on the wagering instructors and came by to interview us. And that was great, and I guess that aired. And then later on that year, I think Carmen was on tour with her sister and their band, and you asked me to fill in for a day or maybe 2 days, and I got to do that. And then as luck would have it, I guess for both Carmen and me, her band took off, and so they went off to do their thing, and I got to join you guys, which was great.
From the paddock, I'm Stephanie Mercier, and now you're back on track.
With Sport of Kings actually helped me decide what I wanted to do after that, because I was working on my degree at UBC in anthropology and had no idea what I would do with myself. But after doing the fill-in for Carmen, I thought, hey, maybe that's something I might want to do. So I applied to BCIT for the journalism program, and then the following year I went there. So it was kind of you guys that kicked it off.
Well, now, had you been around horses before then?
Well, I'd been around the racetrack before then. I'd also been around horses a little bit. I'd taken some riding lessons when I was a kid, but I'd been around the racetrack since as long as I can remember. So it wasn't a new place for me. We kind of grew up there as kids.
Now, we put you to some pretty unique tasks. Can you recall any of them?
Definitely a few that I can recall. Paddocking the horse was amazing. It was just something I've seen all these people do, but I've never got to do, and it was a little bit scary. You know, they're different from normal horses. They're so much more excited and ready to go. So that was great. It was really fun taking them into the paddock where I've seen everybody take them in a million times. Watching them run. Didn't win, but it was still super exciting, and then getting to take them out again. Getting to ride on the starting gate was pretty amazing, but it was really fun. Just to go around the actual track was pretty great.
That's right, they zipped you right around, didn't
they? They did. Yeah, it was really fun. And I remember I got to learn about what the first aid attendants do, which was really great.
That was a good piece.
Yeah, that was really fun. They were really interesting.
When did you decide it was time to move on, and why?
In the fall of 2008, I guess, I got a chance to intern at CBC, which was fantastic. And I got to do a little bit of that both in the fall and then at Christmas time. And then in the following spring, circumstances in my favor fell this way, and they offered me a chance to go up to Kelowna, where they have a CBC bureau there, for a short-term contract that ended up being a bit longer term. But it was, they told me on the Thursday, they said, can you go up on Tuesday? So I just had to say yes and go, and that was what I wanted to do. I'd always wanted to work for CBC Radio, so I had to take the chance, and that's when I had to leave. It was a bit of a bittersweet moment. I was thrilled to go out there and do a bit of that, but it's really hard to leave the racetrack. I've been there so long. So
now you do go to work for the mothership, CBC.
So many people, and it's such a fast pace. Especially in radio, you have to get your stories on quite quickly, and it ends up being quite stressful in the day. But yeah, so it is quite intimidating, but it's fantastic. The people are great. Everybody's great at what they're doing, and it's a great atmosphere, especially because now that they've built the new newsroom, everybody's in the same place. So it's kind of I guess, an excited sort of area. Everybody's great.
What was it like hearing your first byline?
Pretty amazing, actually. I remember phoning up all my family and friends and saying, you have to listen at 5:30, I'm gonna be on here. It's pretty exciting. And then when it was Susan McNamee, I heard her read my name, and she said it right, which was great, and I was very excited. And I'm sure it kept me through the rest of the week.
You got a chance to do some TV?
I did. Just this past summer, I got a chance to do some TV. They were short-staffed, I suppose, so I got a chance, and it was great. I did a bit of training, and then got to go out and do my own story. It was amazing because just by quirk of fate, the story that I ended up doing was turned into a bigger story, so it got to go on the National, which was really exciting, especially because I hadn't done any TV with CBC before. But so that was great. But the other thing that kept coming up for me, especially at the beginning when I was doing TV, is that when you do a stand-up in news, you're not supposed to smile at the end of the story, especially if it's a serious story. But I'm so used to saying, I'm Stephanie Mercier, and now you're back on track with a big grin, that I had to do them a couple of times because I kept grinning after the stand-ups.
What's next for Stephanie?
Oh, I don't know. I hope to keep doing this for a little bit, and I mean, the eventual goal would be, I'd love to be on staff. I'm just part-time casual at the moment. I get a lot of work, but it's great, but I'd love to be a full-time reporter.
Stephanie Mercier reports.
Now you're back on track.